How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of A Playmakers View. I'm your host, as always, Jamie Burdish. I appreciate you guys joining the show, as always. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Today's guest is Josh Keim. Coach Keim is now at Blackhawk College. He's the head coach over there. He's had quite a bit of experience playing the game of baseball, and he's continued on to be a coach. I know he's had mentors and coaches that have helped him along the way, so we're going to talk a lot about that and how his baseball career has really shifted into his coaching career, all that good stuff. So I hope you guys get a chance to learn about who he is and can wish him luck for his new journey at Blackhawk College. So without further ado, we can get things going. Hope you guys enjoy, and feel free to comment with anything you guys feel. For me or Coach Keim, reach out to us if you guys have any questions or need motivation, anything like that. So without further ado, here we go. All right, guys, so like I said, I have Josh Keim joining the show. Thank you so much, Coach Keim. I wanted to get started with just you introducing yourself to the viewers. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you've done in past years, and what your new journey is looking like for you. I know you got a new head coaching position, so just give us a brief overview about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in the Quad Cities, which is where I'm at now. I played at Blackhawk, where I'm now the head coach. For 2 years, and then I moved on to Illinois State University and played there for a year before I played out my college career at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana. And then from there, I started my coaching career at Quincy University, and I worked there for 4 years. And in the meantime, I managed in the Northwoods League for the Rockford Rivets for 2 years. And then I went to St. Leo University for one, down in Tampa, Florida. And then I made the transition back here to the Quad Cities as head coach at Blackhawk College.
Gotcha. So I want to talk to you a little bit about not just your coaching position, but you as a player. So coming back to Blackhawk College, can you explain what that means to you and, what your experience was like as a player, kind of things that you learned there, and, just being a part of that program, what that's meant to you?
It means everything. That's why I made this move, because at the time it just felt right. My athletic director was my former head coach who I played for, in Arnie Chavera. So to me, it was a no-brainer to be able to come back and start my head coaching journey at my alma mater at Blackhawk. And with it being at home makes it that much sweeter. I've been away from the Quad Cities now for a long time, so it's good to be home. And then, I get to see people, I get to see my family, and it just means a lot to me. But, the program, the college, it means everything to me. And so, as a player, I went to Rock Island High School. I wasn't the biggest guy on the team. I wasn't the strongest. And, I wasn't the best, but I knew hard work and a strong work ethic, developing a routine, doing things the right way, which is one of the things you'll probably hear me say a lot. But those things I thought would help me play at the next level. And my goal was to always play college baseball. From a kid growing up, that was my dream, was to play college baseball. And I didn't know where it would be, but my dad played at Blackhawk. And so, it stayed in the family, and it meant a lot to me to go there when the opportunity was offered to me by Coach Chavera in senior year of my high school at Rocky. And so I took it right away. And those 2 years, I always say, was the best decision I ever made, because I was able to grow as a person, grow as a player. I got my associate's degree, and then I was able to move on. And so I use that experience now when I recruit future players for our program. I talk about it to our guys, just about what it takes and things like that. But looking at it from a player's perspective, one day, did I think I'd be in this position when I was playing at Blackhawk? Probably not. But when the time came about, to me, it was a no-brainer.
That's got to be pretty cool to go back to your alma mater and play and coach. Excuse me. But was there something, you talk about your family being really involved. Your dad went there. Is there someone that really pushed you to become even better, not just on the field but off the field. Just like a mentor. I know I've read articles and stuff about you and your career, and it seems like you have a lot of mentors. So has there been someone around that high school age and time that really pushed you to get to the next level?
Yeah, so I've always been fortunate to be around really good baseball coaches. It started with my dad. You know, I we live across the street, grew up across the street from a baseball field. What more could you ask for? You know, you fall in love with the game where you can just wake up and go to the field is what we call it. And so, you know, my dad played a large role with my love and passion for this game. And so, you know, being around him and him coaching me for most of my life and just hearing his thoughts and reflections on how I play, how I practice, you know, has a lot to do with how I am now and how I approach the game and how I approach coaching. And so, you know, starting with him, you know, I was fortunate with, you know, some good high school coaches, Legion coaches. I played Rock Island Legion here in town. And, you know, one of those guys I'm still really good friends with who coached me. His name's Bryce Paler, and he was a huge role model for me, you know, just from he was the guy who helped me get over that hump to get to college baseball, you know, the guy that I needed to push me a little further. And so he taught me a lot about the game and more than just the game. But, and then, you know, going into college, I got to play for Arnie Shavera, who, you know, I have the most respect for. He's the one who gave me this opportunity, but I learned so much from him, and I just soaked it all in, fundamentals and doing things right, and understanding that what you do now reflects what you do down the road. And from there, you know, I got to play for Rick Odette, and I just, you know, I worked for Rick last year, and I always have thought he runs one of the best programs out there. And uh, you know, he preaches doing things the right way and paying attention to detail and caring about what you do. And you know, so I was around him for 2 years, and that's when I really made up my mind that I wanted to coach, is when I met Coach Odette. And so playing for him, it showed me that, yeah, I want to coach down the road. And then, you know, right into my first coaching job for Josh Raby at QU, I learned so much about the game and things that I didn't know. And, you know, from a guy who played at the highest level possible, I learned how to run the days in and day outs of practice, and, you know, what it takes to win games. And then it takes me right into the Northwoods League, where I work for Brian Smith, who, you know, he's a Frontier League manager right now. And so, you know, I've been fortunate to either be coached by or work with some really, really good coaches who have molded me to who I am right now. And it's why I do it. And so I feel very fortunate to be in that situation, to just have the experiences that I have, you know, for most of my life with the game of baseball.
Yeah, so you talk about why you're doing this. I wanted to ask you personally. Obviously, it's fun to win baseball games. It's fun to see people succeed. But is there a specific reason that you continue to coach and that you've chosen to, after your playing career, you wanted to be a coach of your own?
Yeah. What I do is I try to relate what we do on the field to everyday life. And, you know, some of the things that we talk about in our program at Blackhawk is taking pride in where you're at and being proud of the college that you're at, the program you play for. And with that comes doing things the right way, paying attention to detail. Those are things that our guys hear on a daily basis. So, you know, we talk about getting into routines and taking care of your academics, going to your Zoom classes, just doing all the small things possible the right way, because those things will show up later in life. So if you don't do those now at, you know, 18 to 22 years old, the chances of you doing those, you know, in 2 to 3 years, or for my guys now, and in a year or two, when they move on to a different college, we're trying to mold them to become better people while also having success in playing this game. So, you know, we work them hard. And they learn that you have to have a strong work ethic to be successful in the future. And there is no shortcut. There is no easy way. It takes a lot of hard work and pride in what you're doing and just being where your feet are. That's one of the things that we talk about. It's not looking down the road to the next college or, in life, the next job. It's about being where you're at right now and doing what you can to become a better person and better player. So, with the love that I have for this game, if you would have asked me that question 5 years ago, I would have said winning. It's all about winning, and it's all about getting our players to be the best they can. Well, growing in this profession, it showed me that, yes, it is about winning, but it's just about getting our guys to succeed in life and teaching them and showing them those ways to the best of our ability. And so we think of it as, we do things right. We're organized, and we talk about our program being a well-oiled machine, meaning, at practice, it's a well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing. Everyone knows where they're at, what they're supposed to be doing during drills, during an inter squad, or whatever it may be. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then chances are at some point later in life it's going to show up. And the other thing is it's a thing that's been, and I just talked to my team about this the other day. We talk about not talking and more doing. And so, you've always got the people who like to talk about playing time, about competing, about whatever it may be. Our big thing is we like to do. We're going to outwork whoever. We're going to do what we can on the field, off the field, to become better players and better people. So that's kind of everything there that goes along with my philosophy of why I do this. It's just not about winning. It's also about developing these kids for their futures.
Yeah, I think that's super important. Something that a lot of people don't really understand when it comes to playing a sport. It's a lot more than that. I did want to ask you one off-topic thing about the JUCO route. So your school is a JUCO program. How do you think that fares with a four-year university? You've been at Quincy, so what do you think, if anything, is there an advantage to going to a JUCO? What can kids learn more than they would at a four-year university? What is the upside of going to some sort of JUCO? And any sport, doesn't have to be baseball.
Right. Yeah. I think it depends on the kid. There's a level for every kid out there. I've always believed that. Some guys need to go to a junior college because they just quite aren't there yet. There's also other kids that can go to a junior college and really blossom into a really, really good player. So with that kind of question, I would say the kids who are kind of on that fringe of, maybe they struggle a little bit in the classroom where they need a smaller class size. They need to take their gen eds. Maybe they're close to home. Junior college is definitely more affordable. That's probably the biggest thing I could tell you is, instead of looking at $40,000 a year for school, you're talking about 10, including housing. And so, roughly anywhere from $150 to $250 for a credit hour. That's a big deal, especially now with online classes, with everything going Zoom oriented. That's a big selling point for me is we have affordable tuition where you're going to be able to knock out your gen eds that you're not going to have to take at a four-year school, where you can just do that at Blackhawk with, in my opinion, the quality of education is just as good. We have that going for us, but we get to spend quite a bit of time with the guys. We can play up to 20 games in the fall. This year with COVID-19, our fall is slightly different than what a normal year would look like, but we're also able to play 56 games in the spring. And so, compared to 50 games max in a regular season at NCAA institution. So we're able to play more games, and we're able to practice more. So those kinds of things are definitely huge when it comes to player development. And we're talking about it. A player who maybe quite isn't there yet, junior college gives them that opportunity to get better. In my mind, I think quicker. And so that is definitely a perk of junior college baseball. And, we play quality opponents. We play a good schedule. We're able to travel. And in a normal year, we get to do showcases in the fall where our guys will be seen. So the opportunities in my mind are endless at the junior college level. Another thing that I would tell a younger player is if you're getting recruited by that level will probably be there in 2 years. And so if they do have hopes and aspirations to maybe play at a higher level, or if they do need to get better, then they could come and play for us for 2 years and then either go back to that same level or maybe a level higher. And there's obviously nothing against any other levels, because there's great baseball programs out there at every level. Don't get me wrong. But this is just a place of opportunity.
I got that. And I think, like you're saying, it's definitely a place to go and just get better and learn a lot from the experience that you're having there. I think that's going to kind of wrap it up. I always like to finish with some sort of motivation or some sort of key or tip that you have, maybe throughout your experience, or something that you tell your players. Obviously, times are tough right now, especially with COVID-19 going around. Getting that exposure for people at a JUCO, you don't, sometimes people will struggle to wake up and want to get after it because maybe gyms aren't open and the lack of motivation is down. So, is there something that you would tell a player of any sort of sport, or just someone in the classroom, just to be able to get it done and know that they can get it, have a future even though things are tough right now?
Yeah, like I tell my guys, we opened up with this year, that this year it's a year of adversity. You don't know what's going to happen. And I told them, you're competing against three things this year. You're competing against each other, for playing time, for an opportunity on the field. You're competing against our opponents, those programs that are working to get to Enid, Oklahoma, and to win a conference championship and so forth. You're also competing against COVID-19. And so, we wear our mask when we have to. We social distance. We're smart off the field. And so, it's a different year because you're competing against three variables. And so we've used it like that, to make it sort of like a competition. Kids seem to be more engaged when they think of competing. And then the other thing that goes right along with that is I've used the example of playing every day, every practice, every weight session like it's your last, because that's the quote that every coach would always say when we would grow up. It's always play the game like your last, or every at bat like your last. And as a kid that's 12 years old, you're thinking like, oh, I've got 500 more at bats in my career. I'm not even thinking about the last one. But now with COVID-19, where you see last spring seasons were ended, careers were ended because of this. So it is realistic. 2020 has made playing every day like it's your last very realistic. And so that would be my advice to anybody who's out there playing this game is when you wake up, you never know what could happen that day or the next day, because everything is realistic now. You take that practice, you take that weight session, you take that class, whatever it may be, like it's your last, because it is a privilege to be playing college baseball. And if you take it for granted, it's the wrong place for you. And so just taking every game, every practice like it's your last. That'd be my best advice.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate you giving us advice and you coming on the show. I think that's going to kind of wrap things up for today's episode. I hope, and I'm wishing you the best of luck. Hopefully your journey there lasts a long time and you can impact some players like your coaches there did to you. So I'm gonna give the social media, if you don't mind, that people can reach out to you if they have questions. You can answer those, or just say, hey, good luck to you with this new journey and all that good stuff. But like I said, that's going to do it for us on today's episode of A Playmaker's View. I appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of A Playmaker's View.